Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Love Witch Live Lonnie Takeover. It's been a few weeks since I've done one of these, so I'm really excited to get into it today, into this topic. We have a really fun topic today, and it is the card of friendship. So I'll see if I can bring that up here for everybody. I'm really excited about this one. I love this card. I love this deck. The Spiritual Anatomy Divination card deck is the one that my mom and I designed. It's used very intuitively. It's very natural, and it's just so much fun to be able to work with. And she wrote the descriptions. I painted, but yeah, so it'll be really cool to dive into this topic today. Mom is teaching a class, so whenever I do these Love Witch Live takeovers, it's typically because she's doing something busy with her business, and she's teaching a Theta Healing class this weekend, which if you guys don't know, I think there's a description of that in the comments. If you guys are interested in learning more, maybe signing up, definitely check it out. But yeah, so we're gonna dive in today. Friendship is a really beautiful, beautiful topic. I love this because there's so many different avenues that you can go with it. And actually, so because we wrote these cards together, because I painted the card deck and because she wrote the descriptions, her descriptions are beautifully written. She's a natural writer. She's published 2 books. She has one on Amazon right now that is actually called The Love Book. So for those of you that are trying to find your soulmate or maybe trying to find more self-love in your life, that will actually be linked down below. And I helped her edit that. So that was something that I was like reading. And the whole time I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like so much valuable information in this. Like I'm learning from this book. So I would 100% recommend checking that out as well. But, okay, so diving back into the card today. So we're talking about the card of friendship and what this means. And I'll go ahead and start off and read her description here, and then I'll kind of pop back in and add my own sort of like twist on it. And feel free to like comment, you guys, too. We'll have the comments open today, so we'll be able to like tap back in and see what you guys have to say about it. All right, so the card of friendship is... When you select this card, it is time to take a closer look at your friendships. When you look back at old friends, you may feel gratitude towards someone who helped shape the direction of your life. You may feel an inclination to reach out and let them know how much they mean to you, or you may send loving thoughts their way. Look to see if you have limited yourself in any way by only spending time with old friends. While those relationships are valuable, at times they can prevent you from opportunities to meet new friends. Remember, everyone steps into your path for a reason. Every friendship, or even a friendship, is short-lived. Even if a friendship is short-lived, it may still enhance your life in unexpected ways. Make sure that you are able to grow and explore new parts of yourself regardless of what your current friends may think. Stay true to yourself and don't get pressured to be someone that you are not. Sometimes friends from your past may try to keep you in a place that they are comfortable with, and this can inhibit your growth. Be aware that you have grown and will continue to grow all throughout your entire life. The friends who truly love you will always support this. The law of attraction is in operation and will bring you new people that share common interests as soon as you take that first step. The best friend you can ever have is yourself. And when you are your best friend to yourself, you will attract others who love and accept you as you are. I'm like low-key getting emotional about that last sentence because how true is that? Oh my God, because that's... Oh, okay, well, we'll go back into it, but there's additional meanings at the bottom of the card. So reach out and contact an old friend, join a new group to help attract new possibilities of friendship. You have a friend in spirit who is trying to contact you, and perhaps you will stumble upon someone that really needs a friend right now. You have a friendship that needs to be healed. Wow. So yeah, those additional meanings are, I mean, we always like to leave those in because you never know how the card's going to identify with each individual person, but excuse me. But absolutely, having love for yourself is so... That's something we talk about a lot in the Love Witch. We talk about having our cups being full and making sure that we love ourselves before we love another person. And we always kind of identify it with having that correlation of having a soulmate or attracting a romantic partner, right? But we don't always talk about it having the same effect as when you're trying to attract friendships. And I think, you know, oftentimes we do default to friendships that we've had for a very, very long time. And absolutely, those can be so beautiful. They can be so valuable and enriching. And these are people that have known you for a super duper long time. But also we have people that come into our lives at later points that reflect more of who we are now. And we can keep both of these groups. It's not always just like this group is good, this group is bad, like I'm a new person. We can be able to incorporate and have all of these friendships live harmoniously with us. But the important thing too is that our old friendships remember to give us room to grow, because as it said, the law of attraction is always in motion. We are always constantly shifting and changing and growing and becoming versions of ourselves, better versions of ourselves, I would hope, right? So we want to have people that are around us that support and uplift those qualities in us. And, it's parts of the true self that is really you, too. So if people are having a hard time resonating with your true self, that's going to be difficult to spend time around them because it's dishonoring you. It's dishonoring part of your soul and part of your self-expression as a human. So we want to definitely make sure that we are keeping the people that are around us that love us for who we really are and give us the space to grow into who we want to be. And on that topic too, we are the 5 people that we spend the most time around. So if you think about that, look at your friend group, look at your family, the people that you talk to every single day, those friends, those people in your life that you're constantly in contact with and in communication with. How do they live their lives? Are they healthy? Are they working to become better versions of themselves? Are they supporting you in your life? Are they supportive of others? Are they in a negative or positive mindset? And being able to just take an honest stock of the people that we surround ourselves with is so valuable, because once you realize like, oh, wow, these people, like there was a time where I really loved them, but I definitely feel like I'm outgrowing their mindset. Like they are negative. Maybe they have habits that you don't necessarily agree with. And it doesn't make them bad. It doesn't mean you have to cut them out entirely and be like, good vibes, like only good vibes ever. No, like you can still love those people. You can still keep them as a part of your life, but having different kinds of boundaries and different, just some more self-awareness about what you do want to accept and cultivate. Maybe you spend a little bit less time with those people and let them go on their own journey and let them figure it out for themselves. And they'll come back around. Maybe it gives them the chance to work on themselves and do some more self-reflection to be the better version of themselves, just as you're working to be the better version of yourself. Oftentimes I think too, our friends learn when we lead through example. You can't really tell people how to live and how to be. You can't be like, I'm doing this, so you need to do this so that we can keep being friends. Communication's important, but telling people kind of like how to live, it doesn't always go the way we think it will. So kind of just being who you are, standing in your truth and saying, this is who I am, this is who I want to be. It will naturally attract those people to you, new or old, that will just completely vibe with who you are, because they're going to be like, whoa, like what she's doing, I'm about that too. I want to be a part of that. And yeah, having that discernment, and being able to recognize those people when they do come up and being like, yeah, we got it. We're on the same wavelength. That's really, really cool to be able to find. So I think especially too, once you're older, it's like, you're not in college anymore, you're not in school anymore. And especially with COVID, a lot of us aren't in like a traditional workplace anymore. So making friends is a little bit more challenging because you're not being pushed around people all the time. So finding different ways to reach out and connect. The internet is such a beautiful resource. Of course, be safe, be very, very safe, especially if there's people that are younger watching this, but always use your wits about you. Don't talk to people that you don't, know and all that stuff. But for adults that are trying to reach out and make friends, they actually have apps for it. I think one of my friends was using a dating app recently, and she realized that there was a setting for exclusively finding friends and people that you have stuff in common with. And it works very similar to a dating app, but it's just complete platonic friendships. You can just meet up and like hang out and watch a movie or go to a park or do a yoga class, whatever it is that you guys want to do. And it's just such a cool way to meet people. So there's always ways to connect. There's always ways to find others. I actually am very close with somebody that I met myself through in an app, or not an app. I mean, I guess it's an app. It's on my phone, but it's like a blog service. So I actually met someone who is extremely close to me, who is also watching the broadcast today. So it's very cool. All right, let's read some comments here, you guys. Veronica Gibson says, cutie. Thank you, Veronica. Oh my goodness. Thank you. It's so nice. Allison Welch says, hello from the UK. Hi, Allison. Mason says, I read the Love Book in about 30 hours and it was really eye-opening. I recommend it for sure. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy that you think that. Yeah, I'm speechless. It's such a wonderful book. It's just written so well, and there's so much beautiful information in it that can really just help a lot of people, I feel like. It's a really, really good book. Hi, Tracy. Hello. Hi. So yeah, how about you guys? How are you feeling about your friendships? Are you guys experiencing? I think there's a huge shift, especially with this past year, and all of our relationships I feel like have been had having to be reevaluated, with COVID. We're all kind of spending time alone and with ourselves, and it's giving us the opportunity to really just kind of like tap in and be like, all right, like let's see, let's take stock of what we have in our life right now. Are these friendships really really growing us, really benefiting us? Are we being friends to ourselves? That's actually a point in the card that she mentions as well. You're your best friend for your whole life. So think about that for a second. You are your best friend for your whole life. You're stuck with you every single day. How are you treating yourself? What kind of friend are you being to yourself? I've got a couple people that I know who are just the most giving, loving, empathetic individuals. They're so sweet. And how they help other people is unconditional, but how they help themselves in their life, they always come last. They don't talk to themselves, they hold themselves to this extremely high, unrealistic standard, and they don't talk to themselves super kindly. And I remember kind of thinking like how interesting that was, because they're always giving 110% of just unconditional love and support to everybody around them, and they get burnt out, right? Because they're not being friends to themselves first. And it doesn't mean you can't love other people. It just means reprioritizing your energy so that you are able to give to others the way that you want. But you have to make sure that you are prioritizing your friendship to yourself. So talking to yourself kindly is a huge one. When we say love ourselves, I think people kind of be like, oh, like love yourself. Like, okay, but it's a bigger concept. Loving yourself it starts with little things, and it starts with little steps, finding positive ways to speak to yourself, I think is a really, really big one. A lot of us don't realize that our ingrained thought patterns come from our parents or people that we grew up around. So certain things that you say to yourself in your head might be a little bit on a loop, or even friendships that we spent a great deal of time around. We hold a group consciousness with those friendships. So if they believe a certain way or think a certain way, if they're like in a negativity mindset, that'll just keep itself in a loop, and it'll keep perpetuating until you choose to break that cycle and choose to say, you know what, I don't want to invest my energy into that space anymore. I want to be positive. I want to feel good. I want to think good things about myself and others. And the beauty of that is once you alter that mindset, not only do you think better and feel better, but you start attracting better, because you're literally raising your vibration from the inside out. You are what you attract. And we talk about that a lot in the Love Witch too. You are exactly what you attract. You are a magnet to the universe. If you are doing the internal work first and cultivating what's inside of you, that will naturally happen around you, because it's nature. It's natural. So working on those ways of talking to ourselves kindly. So maybe wake up in the morning, when you look at yourself in the mirror and you get out of the shower, don't pick out all little details of yourself and your body and be like, oh, my skin isn't perfect, or, oh, I'm not the weight that I want, or these jeans don't fit how they used to, or whatever it is. Don't point out all the bad things. I want you to look in the mirror and I want you to say, dang, wow, look at me. Like today, my hair is popping. Today, I'm going to pick out a great outfit that's going to make me feel good on the inside and on the outside. I'm going to feel good. I'm going to look good. I'm going to dress how I want. I'm not going to worry about what other people perceive. It's a reason why I wore this lipstick today. It's a little funky. It's brown. But it's fun, and life's too short to not be fun. And being a friend to yourself is being able to give yourself permission to express yourself regardless of what other people think. And for me, that's fashion. It's self-expression. I'm an artist, so it's natural for me to want to express myself through clothes and my hair color and my makeup. And every day I kind of want to do something that's different, that makes me feel like inspired and keeps myself on my toes, but also it's just fun to try, right? But it's a form of self-love for me. So figuring out what that form of self-love is for you too, when you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself in the mirror. Is it how you style your hair? Is it maybe the color eyeshadow you wear if you wear makeup? Is it the type of shoes you wear? I have a lot of guy friends who are really into their shoes. And I don't, I mean, I get it, but I don't get it, but I get it. I'm a girl, I like shoes, but they're all about their like tennis shoes and their Yeezys and their brand name. I mean, it's a lot of it's over my head, to be honest, but I respect it. It makes them feel good. They like it. They polish them with like toothbrushes. So it's really cool. So other ways that you can love yourself. So talking to yourself kindly, that's a big one. Being able to give yourself permission to express yourself, whether it's through fashion or even just the words that you speak. I think we hold ourselves back too in conversation because we're afraid of like, oh, how will this person perceive me if I express this opinion? I think that you should give yourself permission to express it because you're the only person that can speak for yourself, right? And of course, respectfully and given context and the appropriate like time and place. There's always a time and place to say things, but being able to give yourself permission to be like, I have a voice for a reason. I'm allowed to use that voice. I'm allowed to express that voice. That is a form of self-love. And that is a form of being a friend to yourself. Because if a friend were sitting next to you and they were going to say something that had a lot of meaning and you were to immediately be like, no, don't say it. Don't say, no, you can't say it, because you were like afraid or embarrassed of how people would perceive them. That's not really being a good friend, is it? No, you want to like give them a good ear. You want to give them, just you're listening and just kind of like be like, yes, speak your truth, friend. Say what you got to say. So we want to be able to do that for ourselves too. Other ways that we can love ourselves is eating differently. I have this habit of stopping at fast food places quite frequently. And I am trying to be better at not doing it so much. Sometimes I'll call it a treat day if I haven't done it in a while, and I'll be like, okay, I'm taking a treat day. I'm going to McDonald's. I'm getting a McFlurry. And that's a treat day for me. But finding ways to like balance my treat days with the days that I eat healthy is extremely important too, because you're able to sort of, it's really all about that balance. You are giving your body the vitamins, the nutrition that you need. It is showing yourself that you love yourself by taking the time and energy to cook a meal instead of like doing the easy takeout route, which is actually going to make you feel gross in the end of the day, right? So if you've got pets, a lot of us have pets here watching in the comments. Would you give your pet some cheap, easy, just like run-of-the-mill food without researching, without understanding, the ingredients, maybe knowing beforehand that the food is like not healthy for your pet? Would you do that? Or would you research the ingredients and make sure like, no, like I want good quality for my pet. I want them to be here a long time with me. I care about them. It's the same thing, except in this metaphor, you're kind of your pet. Speaking of my pet, here's Gatsby. Did you know I was talking about you? Welcome. So speaking of being able to, kind of treat yourself like a pet, it's a different mindset, but it's essentially the same. Like you are taking care of yourself for your entire life. Do you want to give yourself cheap foods that are not going to make you live a long time, or do you want to invest in prioritizing healthy foods, eating greens, eating, plenty of protein, drinking lots of water? That's one of the things that I need to be better about. I do not drink a lot of water. So everyone's got a different level of what works for them as far as that goes too. Not one person's picture is going to be identical to another person's picture, but figuring out what that balance looks like for you is figuring out how to be a good friend to yourself in the long run. Right. Speaking of pets, I feel like some of us need some pets. A lot of us even see our pets as friends. I think this little guy is one of the best friends I've ever had. He's been with me through like a whole bunch of things, and I feel like he's going to be with me for a long time, especially cats. I feel like they can live up to like 30 years. So if you think about it, that's a very, very long friendship that you're investing in. And, dogs, that's like what, 12, 14 years sometimes, if you're really lucky. That's a beautiful friendship too. Literally the concept of a dog being man's best friend is, that's a thing, so making sure that we take care of our friends and our little furry friend companions is just as important as taking care of ourselves and the people that are around us. But I think being a good friend, to kind of close out that side of the topic, being a good friend starts with being a good friend to yourself first. Just as kind of how we started off in the beginning, talking about what you cultivate on the inside is able to reflect what's on the outside. So once you've kind of begun to really take stock of what it is that you are doing for yourself as a friend to yourself in your own life, it's really important to take stock of not only how are other people treating you, but how are you treating your friendships? Are there friends that maybe you have kind of neglected in the past? or people that you've sort of fell out of contact with. So one of the concepts that she has in this, what was one of the additional meanings, I think, was reach out and contact an old friend. So there are times in our lives where sometimes we don't always get along with the people that we love. And what I'm picking up on this for somebody, I'm sure somebody in the comments here has actually had a falling out with somebody that they were once close with. And I think there's a reason why it's coming up, because I feel like there are times where maybe 20 years has passed. Maybe that person has gone through many experiences, many levels of growth. Maybe you have just as much. And it's like, hey, you know what? That was a person that I really loved and cared for at one time. I wonder how they're doing. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to reignite that friendship if you don't want to, but it does kind of indicate that maybe there's something there that needs to be healed or addressed or just acknowledged. Even just a gesture of reaching out and saying, hi, friend, it's been a while. How are you? Let's just catch up. Like, you're a person that I care about. And just because you haven't seen that person in a long time doesn't mean they stop being your friend always, too. I actually have friends. I've lived many different places. I've lived in Florida and Wisconsin, and right now I'm thinking about moving to California, and I'm in Minnesota currently, but I've kind of been a lot of different places, and I have friendships that I haven't spoken to somebody or seen their face in like years at a time. Maybe I'll text them once a month or something, but I haven't seen their face in years at a time. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, we are still friends. And that's the beauty of like true friendship too. Like, you don't have to be in constant contact. You don't have to be, always around this person's presence to know that you still love and care about each other. You just know, like, hey, we're still buddies. Like, no matter the distance, no matter the time in our lives, like, I know that person's going to be a part of my life. I mean, forever. And in one shape or another, whether it's, we're best friends, we talk every day, or whether we, talk once a month or maybe once a year, life goes on, but the love is still there. And I think that that's one of the most beautiful qualities about friendship, is that there's no expectation, there's no pressure to try and live up to what you think it has to be. Just letting it be what it is and being able to invest in it is such a beautiful thing. I'm going to check out the comments here. Hey, beautiful one. Hi, Tracy. Hello. Adore Diana's books. I'm reading Mediumship, Scrying, and Transfiguration. Yes, that one's really, really cool. Actually, for you guys that are interested in anything to do with like witchy stuff, this is the Love Witch over here. So if you're interested in mediumship or transfiguration, scrying is like being able to sort of see into other dimensions, kind of connecting with spirit, sometimes connecting with yourself. Transfiguration is a really, really cool thing. That book is really awesome too. Just as Diana's book, Setting Spirits Free, I'm gaining, I'll just pop her comment up here. Gaining so much, definitely ordering the Love book. Yes, oh my gosh, good. Yeah, the Love book, it's really cool. It's a very different topic than she's written before. A lot of her books in the past have been about spirits and ghosts and being able to cross them over and healing. And the Love book is so, I love it that she took a different direction with it. It's a lot more about self-love. It's about finding your soulmate. It's about loving yourself and attracting that soulmate. It's a lot of the things that we talk about here on The Love Witch. So if you guys are like watching The Love Witch and you want to have like a physical copy of a book that has a lot of the information that we discuss, that's all going to be in that book right there. You're so right. Self-care is important. It's taken me many years to understand. Teresa, you're absolutely so correct. It has taken me a while to figure that out too. And I think one of the things that I loved about this year, or I guess last year I should say now, despite everything that was going on in the world and a lot of the very scary stuff and a lot of the very sad stuff, a lot of us lost some loved ones, and there's a lot happening in the news and, in the country. I think one of the things that was a highlight for me of 2020 was how much self-care became like peak importance in my life. And it wasn't that I hadn't been doing it for years previous, but it was highlighting all the areas that I felt like weak in, that were not my strengths, that needed to be grown and worked on a little bit more. Being able to trust my intuition was a huge one. Not just trust it, but follow through with it. Like, know what it's saying and be like, okay, I hear you, girl. Like, I'm going to trust you because you've never done me wrong so far, and I'm going to hold true to that. So that was a really big one. But self-care, yeah, self-care and self-love, we talk about that in The Love Witch a lot too. Self-care is just like, it's all about, making sure that you feel good on the inside and the outside, and self-love is sort of making those hard choices for ourselves down the road. Like, maybe it's getting your master's, right? That's like an investment in yourself. That's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be a huge investment as far as your self-love goes down the road. Self-love is also kind of like we were talking about before, talking about those foods that we put into our bodies. You know, we might be like, oh, treat yourself, get McDonald's every day, like it feels good, it's fun, like I deserve it, I'm worthy of like treating myself and getting foods that taste good. But the self-love is being like, nope, I'm going to have a little bit of self-restriction. I'm going to have a little bit of, you know, looking out for myself in the long run and knowing like I can't do that every day. I can do it once in a while, but every day I should be putting in things in my body that help me feel strong, help me feel beautiful, help me grow, help me, you know, do all the things that I want to do. Give me the energy to be the person that I want to be is a huge one too. We forget that 90% of our serotonin is actually produced in our gut. So if you're feeling kind of sluggish and low energy, be like, should I eat a vegetable? Should I eat a salad today? Should I maybe eat an apple? Maybe it's as simple as like taking a banana and bringing it with you to work, you know, whatever it is. Little things like that, you know, add up in the long run, and it becomes a habit and a pattern over time. And we want to keep that going. Love this, Lonnie. Noting much of this. I have 2 special gifts for friends, Lady. Oh, and the little magical girl there, literally yin and yang, an expansive way, working well as their balance. Oh, I love that. Fur cat friends. I love that. I love fur friends. All fur friends I love, but fur cat friends are special to my heart because I'm also a cat mom. So I love seeing that. Oh, it's such a beautiful thing. I love that. Yeah, yin and yang. That's so cute. Thank you for sharing, Tracy. Yeah, and you know, friendship is cool because it was funny. I was reading an interview recently, and I was thinking about this yesterday. And now it makes sense as to why it came up in my head again. But it was this young woman in Hollywood. If you guys know who, you know, Paris Jackson is, I think it's Michael Jackson's daughter. She's really cool, and I was reading an interview about her, and she was talking about how she has friends that are like so many different ages. She's like, oh, I've got friends that are in their 70s. I've got friends that are in their 20s. Like one of my best friends is like 75 or something. And I remember it really stood out to me because I was like, not only do I relate to that, like in a big way, like I've always, you know, been around, you know, my mom's friends and like many different like spiritual healers and things like that who are like significantly older than me. But I totally think that that's such a beautiful thing when it comes to friendship. You know, our friends don't always have to be at the same stage in life as we are. It's actually so cool to have people that are at different stages of life. I even have friends that are younger than me. I remember when I was bartending, I would have friends that were, you know, they were like hosts or servers and they were like still in high school. And I would just feel so special when I was given the opportunity to be able to help them or teach them in some way and like pass along wisdom that took me forever to figure out about the job. And then I'd be like, oh, here's a quick little like trick that I learned that you can use too. And then they'd start using it, and then I'd see them teaching their friends, and it was so fulfilling for me because I had learned that from somebody else who had been 30 years my senior, you know, the previous summer. So being able to witness what an older person had taught me and then what I was able to teach somebody else was really, really, really cool. And that's, you know, that's life. All of our life is like that. We're always teaching each other and growing, whether we realize it or not. Even if we don't think we're teaching, we are just by living and by leading by example. We're teaching many people many different ways to exist in the world and many different ways to be a friend. And I think that that's such a beautiful, beautiful gift. So let's see what else we have here, guys. Oh, by the way, oh my gosh, if you guys haven't entered in to win the Love Charm Bag, I almost forgot. Oh, the Love Charm Bag giveaway. We do these every single week. And if you have not won yet, please type hashtag Love Charm Bag in the comments. We give one away every single week, as I just said. If you didn't win this week, we will make sure that somebody wins next week. We always try to pick new people every week. We've had a couple of repeats in the past, which is totally okay. Sometimes people need 2. Sometimes you can keep one in your car. You can keep one in your house. It's great to have more than one, but we always want to make sure people feel included, and that if you haven't won yet, we try and make you a priority when we pick new people. So hashtag Love Charm Bag in the comments. The Love Charm Bag is full of all these really beautiful herbs that attract love into your life. There's a rose heart quartz. There's a seashell, there's an actual little rose in the bag, and just beautiful, beautiful herbs. And basically what it is, it's a little magnet for you. It's a magnet to help you attract in loving energy and peaceful energy, and or also just kind of anything it is that you're seeking in life, you know? Uh, we sometimes think that love is just romantic love. And yes, it is for romantic love, but also love is an energy of creation and growth. So if you're trying to attract more money, more prosperity, if you're trying to attract a better job, more opportunities, more friendships, if you're somebody who's seeking more friendships right now, this love charm bag is for you. So hashtag love charm bag in the comments, and we'll definitely be sure to send it your way. We'll pick somebody at the end of the episode. So oh, we got a couple love charm bags coming in. Yay! Awesome. 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 All right. Do you guys have any questions about this card, the friendship card? Um, Also, too, I'm not sure why I'm being drawn to talk about this, but friendship is something it's not just transcending. I'll take this down here. It doesn't just transcend ages, but it also transcends lifetimes. So we can have friends that we meet in this lifetime that maybe we knew in a previous lifetime. And I think that that's something that's extremely beautiful. And I think it's cool too, because we're not always in the same position in life as when we met them the last time around. Perhaps the last time around they were older than us, maybe they were a teacher. Maybe this time around we get the opportunity to teach them. You know, life is always rebalancing and karma is always coming back around in different ways. So every lifetime that we experience, we get the opportunity to play a different role for each other. So some of the friends that you have in this current life, I want you guys to kind of take a look around and be like, you know, there is that one person that I've really been super tight with. Maybe like it's 2 or 3 people. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 people too, because we oftentimes reincarnate with the same soul groups. So a lot of the people that you already know, you've probably known in previous lifetimes, because we're always trying to work out some of that karma that we once held. So take a look at the people that are around you and be like, you know what? I think I knew you before. You know, there's a reason why we were drawn to each other. Sometimes you meet friends. I remember when I started a new school when I was in Florida, and there was a girl sitting at a table in English class, and I walked in the room, new student, hadn't been there like at all, complete first day, didn't know a single person. I made eye contact with her and I was like, she's gonna be my friend. I knew it. I just knew it. And I just, not even that I tried. I didn't even try to be her friend. It just happened really naturally. And the teacher sat me down at her table right next to her, because I guess that was the only table that had an open seat. So we literally were positioned in a place where like the universe was like, yes, you guys are going to be friends. And we were really good friends all throughout high school. So it's just so cool how things like that happen. And sometimes there's a reason why we're drawn to certain people. There's certain lessons that we're meant to get from them, which was absolutely true in that case. So you never know how people are going to come into your life and who's going to come back around. And you know, it's always continuing too. We still have people we haven't met yet. We have many friends that we have yet to meet in this lifetime. So keep your eyes open for them, you know, and if you want to attract your soul family or people that you are connected to from previous lifetimes, you know, even sitting down and kind of like asking the universe, like, hey, like I want to reconnect with my soul friends, or I want to reconnect with people that I once knew that I used to be very close with, especially if you're, you know, still kind of stuck in quarantine, or you're struggling meeting people right now. That's a great way to kind of like tap in with the universal energy and your power and find the people that you once knew and reestablish that connection. So let's see here. And speaking about friends too, you know, we've mentioned a little bit that it's possible that you can outgrow people. And when you outgrow people, it's not always a big thing. It's not always like a negative thing. It doesn't have to be this like sharp ending, this like we're not friends anymore, we had a fight, whatever. Like sometimes you can just literally gracefully outgrow each other and lovingly part ways. You can just be like, you know what? That friendship really served me for that phase of my life. And I'm sure that I served them just in the same way. But now we've reached different points in our lives where we can just look at each other and be like, you know, we aren't who we used to be. And we were meant to learn from each other. We're always meant to learn from each other. That's the beauty of friendship. But it's okay too to say, I still love you, I still care for you, and I still wish you the best. We just no longer have anything in common anymore. We've outgrown each other. And you can peacefully, and my mom actually calls that's called a sacred ending, and she talks about it in the love book. And typically it's applied to like relationships, but it can absolutely be applied to friendships as well. Having a sacred ending. It's one that is done with peace and with love and with appreciation for the beauty of the other person, but just acknowledging that maybe you're not harmonious together anymore. Maybe you're not lifting each other up in the way that you once did. Maybe you just gone different ways, and that's absolutely acceptable and okay. So take a look at that this week, you guys. Maybe after this episode is done, maybe sit for a couple minutes, just, reflect, do a little bit of self-reflection about your friend group, your relationships, the relationship that you have with yourself. Are you being a good friend to yourself? Are you being a good friend to the people that are around you? Do you have good friends? Are they good friends to you? Have you outgrown some friendships? Are you looking to grow new friendships? Are you looking to connect with new people? What is it that you are seeking about friendship at this phase in your life right now? Are there people who have been trying to be your friend that you've kind of been shutting down because maybe you're like, I don't think so. Is it worth giving them a chance? Or do you have discernment because like, I've been down that road before. Everyone's got their thing. Everyone's different. You just got to trust your own gut, and you got to trust your best friend first. And your best friend, guess who that is you. You're your best friend. Always. You should always be your number one best friend throughout your entire life, because you are with you 24/7. You feed yourself, you clothe yourself, you talk to yourself in your head constantly, all the time, all day. So you should be your best friend first. And when you're your best friend and when you're doing all of those amazing things, you attract in people that will then reflect that back to you. That self-love, we don't just talk about it to be like, oh, self-love is so great. Because it is, but there's a reason behind it. It's a science, really. When you are giving yourself all of the things that you need, you attract people that also reflect that back to you in the world. So taking the time to cultivate that is going to just do wonders and skyrocket you into your destiny and into your happiness. And I think following your dreams too, this is something that I'm also picking up for somebody listening today, but following your dreams, I think a lot of us are afraid because it's a very vulnerable feeling, but as your best friend to yourself, giving yourself permission to be exactly who you are, to stand as who you are, if that is following your dreams, if that is being a different kind of person than you've been previously perceived as in the past, standing up for yourself and just admitting like, I want to be this person. I need to be this person. I need to follow this path for myself. You give yourself permission to do that. And the people that are meant to be in your life through that journey will be in your life for that journey. And the people that are not will gracefully fall away. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure we do surround ourselves with people that authentically love us for who we truly are, putting down some of those masks, right? You don't want to have people in your life that love you for a version of yourself that you created years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Maybe there's this version of yourself that's no longer serving you that needs to be released and let go. And that version of yourself has served you, and it's okay to let it go with grace and to step into this new version of yourself that you're growing into. But making sure that you have people that are in your life that love and support exactly who that person is really invaluable. So yeah, absolutely. So let me check the comments here, you guys. How are you guys feeling about your friendships? Is this resonating for you? Allison here says, my husband Paul was my soulmate and my best friend, and now I live on my own with my 2 dogs and 2 cats, and they help me a lot since my husband Paul died. Allison, yes, absolutely. The beauty about losing somebody, and that sounds like a horrible sentence that I just said, but the beauty of losing somebody who was a soulmate and your best friend is you don't lose them. They're never gone. They're never lost. It's such a beautiful thing because they're always with us, and nothing is lost. And every friendship, even if it's ended, after all of this, after we're done playing human for a while, we all go up and then we all connect and we all get to reflect upon the experiences and the lessons that we taught each other. And then oftentimes we'll come back down and do it all over again. So what's really cool about this is that your husband is still with you. He's still looking out for you. He's still your best friend. And your animals too, your dogs and your cats, I completely believe that they were helping you with that experience, that loss. I feel like they were little helper animals. We don't always realize why animals come into our lives. You hear stories, right, of like, oh, like I was just walking home from work one night and this dog just followed me home and like went in my house, like, and I just decided to keep him. So, I mean, this little guy, he was supposed to be a cat that I was gonna foster. I was gonna help him find a new family. And then, nope, there's no way, no way. We were just buddies. We were homies from day one. Like, I knew that that was supposed to be my cat. So you never know how they're gonna find you, and that's actually really cool too, because they're our little animal friends, our little guardians, and they come into our lives for different reasons. Sometimes, a dog is there to help you through your mental health stuff. Maybe it's there to help you be more social, get you out of the house, get you on walks, get you outside. Maybe a cat is supposed to be this companion that's gonna lay next to you and purr and be something you can like kind of cuddle with and like hold close and get that affection that you need. There's so many different reasons why they come into our lives, and you never know. And sometimes you don't know until you know, but they're here for a reason, and they hold such a big part and hold so much importance for us. So thank you very much for sharing that, Allison. I absolutely believe that your husband is here watching and looking out for you. And yeah, I feel like your pets too are definitely kind of helping assist you with this process and this healing time that you're in right now. Too, it's actually funny. I read somewhere that dogs are protectors of the physical world and cats are protectors of the spiritual world. So it's cool that you have two of both. But I liked that concept because I think it's very true. I believe that all animals can see into different realms, but um, I've always felt cats to have this like special little spiritual component, and dogs are definitely like these protectors that like wanna keep us safe, even when they're little like chihuahuas. I've seen some chihuahuas that are like, I would not mess with them. They are scary. If they tell me, if they start barking at me like they're gonna protect their owner, I'm like, you're right. I'll stay over here. You're right. Tracy, much love, Allison. Love to your beautiful dogs and fur friends. Yes, absolutely, Tracy. All the love to your fur friends, all the love to you and your husband who has passed. Interesting about pets. Yes. Elaine, do our friends visit us from spirit? Yes. Yes, they do. Absolutely. And our friends, are like human friends as well as our animal friends, both visit us from spirit. One of the ways that I find that they connect with me personally is through dream visits. That's where I see them more clearly. That's where I am more easily able to tap into that realm. I've had many experiences where I've had, actually, for example, I had a dog who passed away 4 or 5 years ago now. And he was my buddy. He was like the best dog in the world. He was a street dog before we adopted him, and we adopted him actually when he was at a later stage in his life. But we had a bunch of really, really good years with him, and it was so hard to say goodbye, but I knew it was meant to be for that certain amount of time. And when it was his time to go, he let us know. So it took me a whole year after his passing before I had a dream about him. And I remember it was so clear. I was in a white room and I saw him, and he came running up to me, and he was wagging his tail, and he was young looking, he was healthy, he was vital. And in the last couple of months before he passed away, he had like really bad arthritis, and he was really kind of struggling, as older doggies do. And it was really cool to be able to see him as this young, healthy dog. And I was like playing with him, and I felt like we were playing for hours. And then it was like he heard something, like someone was calling him that I couldn't hear because it wasn't for me. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. But it wasn't for me. And he heard the call, and his little ears perked up, and he turned and looked, and he like looked at me, and then he looked back, and then he went running off into the distance. And I woke up, and I was just like, tears were running down my face, because I was like, that was a dream visit. That was like meant to be. That was my closure, my goodbye for that little spirit that was in my life. So yes, all of our friends come back and visit us. And that includes fur friends. I've had people in my life who have passed away as well that I've experienced in dreams many times. And they also come around in different ways. Sometimes they'll show us signs and symbols in our waking life. Maybe you'll know like a grandpa that leaves you pennies, or a grandma that every time she's around you, you smell roses because she loved to garden, or maybe it smelled like her perfume or something. So our people are always very connected to us, whether they're still here in the physical plane or whether they are on the other side. And, being able to kind of maintain those relationships can be really interesting too. I think being able to reconnect with the people that we have that we've lost and be like, hey, like, grandpa so and so, can you send me this sign every time you're around? Can you give me a signal to let me know when you're present? And, if you need assistance with something in your life, for example, maybe grandpa was really good at working on cars, right? Maybe he was just a car guy. He was really good about it. Maybe you need to buy a new car right now. Then you can call upon grandpa and be like, hey, grandpa, I know this is your specialty. I need your help right now. Can you help me with my new car? Can you help me find a new car or fix my car, whatever it is? And then grandpa on the other side, that's, kind of like a big part of what they do for us when we're still alive is they're like, yeah, like I'll make it happen. So then grandpa will go off as a spirit and find all the things that he needs to help you with. And then everything will sort of come together in that way. So it's just cool how like different spirits and different people that were connected to us when we were alive still play parts for us in our daily lives as we are on this plane, as we are still alive and living and growing as these beautiful, amazing souls. So yeah, they're never far from us. They're always near us. And they're always finding ways to connect with us again. So maintaining those relationships and being able to reconnect with those relationships can be wildly beneficial. Interesting about pets. Yes, yes. Don't mess with chihuahuas, lol. They mean business. They sure do. I would not mess with chihuahuas. I have seen many little dogs. I feel like absolutely they spook me out sometimes. I'm big dogs. I feel like I'm really comfortable with because I'm like they're sweet. I feel like they're like gentle giants most of the time. But little dogs, I give them all the respect. Pass short between each other. And yin and yang, as they were my two partners that passed a short time between each other. So much gratitude for beautiful Dinah Palm. She's an amazing teacher, mentor, friend, and beautiful Lonnie. Oh, thank you, Tracy. That's so kind. Oh, I really appreciate that. Much resonates. Thank you, beautiful Lonnie. Oh, thank you, Tracy. That's such a kind compliment. Thank you. Wonderful comment. Just a quick reminder, you guys, if you wanted the love charm bag, make sure you type in hashtag love charm bag in the comments. If you haven't won yet, you will be prioritized for winning the next one. We try and pick people who haven't won yet because we've had a couple repeats, which is totally fine. Sometimes people need them. You never know what people are drawn to. But if you're just tuning in right now, just a quick reminder that if you wanted to win that love charm bag, type in the comments hashtag love charm bag so we know to put you in. All right, you guys. So we're going to do some spiritual, we're going to do some love hearts. So some spiritual guidance here. Spiritual guidance for this week. All right, so this is for people that are listening in the chat. These are drawn in advance. This is some spiritual guidance that I do not have a love hearts with me, but this was channeled before I sat down and started recording here. So let's see. Reconnect with yourself is one that I have on my list. Reconnect with yourself. And it's actually funny because that's a big topic of today. Reconnecting with yourself, being that friend to yourself. We went into all of that in the beginning of this episode. So if you guys want to go back and rewind this when this is done streaming, feel free to do so. There's a lot of really cool information at the beginning, but connecting with yourself is so important. Knowing yourself, having that self-love. And not just knowing yourself, but not just the good parts of yourself, but even acknowledging your shadow self, right? We are more than just what we allow ourselves to believe. I think knowing yourself on a really, really true level is knowing the best qualities of who you are, in addition to the worst qualities of who you are, and kind of making peace with those darker sides of ourselves. And, every human has them. We are human beings. We're living a human experience. We are not perfect. But being able to acknowledge and still send love to the parts of us that are unhealed, the parts of us that we struggle with is, that's going to help you so much. It's almost going to help find a space to unify these two sides of yourself, your shadow self, and then this part of you that you want to be, like the highest version of who you are, right? But you can't always be this highest version of who you are until you have acknowledged the parts of you that are unhealed, the shadow self, right? Your negative qualities. Maybe it's, negative self-talk. Maybe it's some bad habits that you have. Maybe it's things that you've done in your past that have yet to be resolved and healed. All of those qualities, once addressed and acknowledged and worked through, maybe you need to release some emotions connected with them, actually will help elevate the highest version of yourself. It'll just skyrocket because it's no longer being weighed down by this other like balancing, like they're kind of tied together, you see. Like they're not two separate entities, they are the same. Kind of the same sides of the same coin, or different sides of the same coin. That's the phrase I'm going for. So like once you heal the worst parts of yourself, it elevates the best parts of yourself like astronomically. You're just skyrocketed. So yeah, knowing yourself is a big one for sure. Let's see what else we have here. Let me see. And also, guys, make sure if you have any questions in the comments, feel free to add it in here. Oh, Elaine, yes, thank you so much. It's so good to hear. Nice to know our pets as well as people visit us. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're all connected even in the afterlife, even in this life. So, end all toxic relationships. And we kind of mentioned this before, and I think ending all toxic relationships is sort of, it depends on the person, it depends on the situation. I feel like there are some redeeming qualities of people. I think endings can be honored, they can be sacred, they can be beautiful, as we kind of mentioned in the past, but also acknowledging that some people are not perfect. Being able to discern whether or not an ending needs to take place is the most, that should be the primary concern. Is an ending necessary for this relationship? If yes, then do it. Cut that cord. You can even do a cord cutting ceremony. I've actually found those to be really, really helpful in the past when I've had a hard time letting go of relationships or friendships or even just patterns in myself that I had a hard time releasing. Cord cutting ceremonies can be just so beautiful. And if you guys want more information about that, feel free to hit the Google, but it's basically super simple. You have 2 candles, you tie a cord around them, you light both candles, and as they burn down, the cord will then burn between them, and it literally cuts the energetic cord that is holding these two people or these two energies. If it was like you and like something that you're trying to let go of, it can be whatever you need for it to be. But being able to cut that cord can be so purifying and releasing. And we don't even realize that we still have connections to things from our past. You know, it could be a past from 10 years ago, it could be a past from yesterday. But that cord cutting ceremony can come in as being very, very helpful. But yeah, ending all toxic relationships. So being able to take a stock in your friendships and maybe even a toxic relationship with yourself. You know, maybe look in the mirror tonight and be like, you know what? I'm tired of saying these things to myself. I'm tired of looking at myself in the mirror and pointing out all my flaws or not speaking to myself with love or not feeling like the best version of who I am, because you are divine. You are perfect as you are. And I think that that's something that needs to be acknowledged. Next time you look in the mirror, you know, just say, I'm done. I'm done with that toxic relationship with myself. I'm going to treat myself with love. I'm going to speak to myself kindly. I am worthy and deserving of experiencing joy and harmony and all of the beauty that life has to offer. And I'm no longer going to hold myself back by keeping myself down based on how I was taught to speak about myself, whether it was from your family or from society or from friends, whatever it is. Rewrite your own book, rewrite your own story. So you control your narrative. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things. So whatever that toxic relationship is, take a think about that today. Maybe at the end of this episode, maybe just sit for a few minutes, close your eyes, meditate, do some deep breaths, and think about what relationships in your life need to be revisited or need to be addressed. And maybe those relationships are with yourself or with people that you're close to, even like romantic relationships sometimes. So being able to discern that will be really helpful. And then we have be patient. Oh, I am not the greatest at this one. I will admit it. I am not the most patient person. When I want something, I am like, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Like, let's make it happen tomorrow. But I don't always realize that there's other foundations that need to be laid. So laying foundations for the things that you want and being patient and knowing that All plants take time to grow, just as your goals and dreams take time to grow. Sometimes you don't always see how much it actually is growing beneath the surface. It might just be planting its roots all below. All these roots are growing down, they're getting the water and the nutrients they need, and then all of a sudden it's going to skyrocket overnight, and you're going to see this plant growing in like 2 days, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh. So that's like the metaphor for your life, right? All the things that you want, you need to be patient for. You need to be able to continue watering that and to continue growing and continue knowing that the work is being done inside and below the surface before it starts reflecting on the outside. Oftentimes when we start working on ourselves, we think it's going to be instantaneous, that all the people around us and all of our life circumstances are going to change. And I think it's more of like a long-term process, but we will get signs and signals along the way that something is shifting, some things are happening. But I think the more work that you continue to do inside, the more it will really like rattle the outside of your reality in a good way, in the best way. So make sure that you are giving yourself time, though. Be patient with yourself. Understand that you might make mistakes along the journey. Understand that people around you will make mistakes along the journey. But, just kind of remember it's all coming together in time, and it'll be what it is when it's meant to be that. So be patient with yourself, be patient with those that are around you. Continue to love, continue to grow. It's going to grow into something beautiful. I feel it. And I'll pick one more additional one here, you guys. Give up the need for approval. Okay, so this is something that we kind of mentioned at the beginning, being able to be your truest self, right? Being able to stand as who you are, love yourself as who you are, know yourself as who you are. I think a lot of the times the people that we surround ourselves with are comfortable with who we have been in the past. They want to keep us in that narrative because it makes them feel safe, right? Because maybe they're too afraid to be who they really are. Or maybe when you start to change, it makes them question things about themselves that they may not have wanted to admit in the past. Or even people are just not the greatest at change sometimes. They want you to be who you are because it's comfortable for them to be able to rely on that person. But we are all meant to be changing and shifting and growing as life goes on. So being able to release the need for approval from other people is something that's going to be really profound and kind of like earth-shaking, because the only person's approval that you really need is yourself. And if you're happy with who you are, if you're happy with the person that you're growing and creating, are you happy with who you are, Gatsby? If you're happy with that person, then that's really all that matters at the end of the day. If you're happy with, going to bed at night and being like, I am a good person, I have done everything that I need to do, I am working on creating a better reality for myself and others, then that's the most important thing right there. So on that note, Allison, your hair looks beautiful. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's new. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Allison. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to the Love Witch. I'm going to go ahead and pick a winner for the Love Charm Bags. This is your very last chance, you guys. If you want to win, hashtag Love Charm Bag, type it in the comments. Hashtag Love Charm Bag. That will bring a little magnet into your life for love and prosperity and friendships, which is what we're talking about today. Is a friendship card. It's over here. There we go. There we go. So if you want to win, hashtag Love Charm Bag in the comments. I'll scroll through here and see who we have. Hashtag Love Charm Bag, friends. And also, if you didn't win this week, make sure you tune in next week so that you can win, because we give these away every single week. I'm not sure how long we're going to be doing these for, too. So these might be limited for a certain amount of time. So if you've been thinking about getting one, make sure you check in and we'll see here. All right, let's do, scrolling through the comments here, friends. Let's do Allison Welch. Hashtag Love Charm Bag. Allison. Woo! Congrats, Allison! You won the hashtag Love Charm Bag. I'm not sure if my mom has your information, but please, it looks like you're tuning in from Facebook. So if you would like to shoot us a private message, we will get your information from there and find a way to ship it out to you. But yay, everyone, congratulate Allison! Woo! Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I had an awesome time hosting the Love Witch Live. Lonnie Takeover is always really fun for me, and Gatsby, I think, really likes it too. If you guys want to say hi to this guy here, he definitely feels the need to pop in and share a little bit of his advice whenever I host. So thank you guys so much for watching. All the love to you and your fur friends, and the love to you on your journey of finding friendship and friendship with yourself. We love you here on The Love Witch, and we're looking forward to seeing you next week. Bye, everyone.